your video, oh, I'm sorry, if your name is not said in this video, there's three others for you to check out. Check out. However, you can also drop your name in the comments, and I can read them in a future video. Okay. This video, I am entirely going to be using names that you guys have left in the comments. So, I'm not lying to you. I'm not. I promise. You can trust me. I will say your name eventually. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. And the first name I'm going to read, it starts with an L. And L is for Leslie. Hello, Leslie. You are lucky number one. Lucky Leslie. Lucky Leslie. Leslie is a pretty gender neutral name, I feel. So, good night to all the Leslies, the boys, the girls, anything in between. Leslie, you have permission to fall asleep. Good night, Leslie. Leslie. And next, I have an S name. S name. Scott. You have permission to fall asleep, Scott. Good night, Scott. Now, Scott could also be a girl's name. Oh, my ring is all turned around. I think it would be super cute to have a daughter named Scotty. So, if you're a girl named Scott, leave a comment because that's super sick. What would Scotty be short for? I'm not sure. Alright, good night, Scott. Right, let's see. This one's interesting. Elon. Are there really that many Elons out there? Elon. Good night, Elon. Good night, Elon. And I'm sorry. You probably cannot escape the connotations of your name, even in your relaxation videos. My first thought is Musk. But good night, Elon. Alright. There are going to be some repeats, I'm sure. I will repeat some, but Bogdan, B-A-G-D-A-N. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. But good night, Bogdan. You have permission to fall asleep. Now, I just want to put a little. I just wanted to mention this. I've been getting so many comments that are like, POV, you're insert country here. You're not American, so you're not gonna get to fall asleep. Hold on. Have you even watched my videos? Because I try my very, 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 very best to include names from all over the globe. In fact, in previous videos, I googled the top names in several different countries and included all top 10 in my list. So, I'm trying my best not to leave you guys out, okay? Okay. Next, and don't worry, we'll move on to a girl's name after. We have another boy's name. Starts with an A, and it is Archie. Again, actually, that could be a cute girl's name too, Archie. Archie, good night, Archie. I give you my very, very special permission to fall asleep. Good night, Archie. Somebody commented asking if my top teeth were real. Yes, they're real. Zero. See, I can't hear the name Zero without thinking Smashing Pumpkins, but honestly, that's kind of cool. I like it. Okay. Now this person claims that I didn't say a single R name in the entire video. I have trouble believing that. I have trouble believing that I didn't use a single R name. But this one's for you. Ruby. Ruby. Excuse me, Ruby. Good night, Ruby. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Ruby, Ruby, Ruby. And now that my mind is on gemstones, we'll do some of those names. Now, I know for a fact that I used the name Amethyst in a previous video, maybe even the first one. So let's elaborate. Let's elaborate. Good night, Emerald. Emerald. Emerald Emmy. Now I know I said goodnight to Emily's and Emmys in previous videos, but you get another one. Lucky, lucky, lucky you if your nickname is Emmy. But more specifically, anyone named Emerald out there. Emerald, Emerald. And how about, ooh, I love this one. Starts with an O. Opal, Opal, Opal. Good night, Opal. I'm gonna try to scale back on the finger flutters. It's just like instinct to do it. But some people said they really, really don't like it. So I'm gonna try to refrain from finger flutters. But Opal. Opal. Oh, 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 Opal. Good night. Opal. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. And how about just simply the name Gem? Gem, 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 Gem. Good night, Gem. Or, sorry about that. Or Gemma. Gemma. Gemma with the G or with a J. Good night to anyone named. Oh, look at me. I just did it again. The finger flutters. Good night to anyone named Gem or Gemma. Gem, Gemma, Opal, Ruby. Let's see what other. Stone, Crystal. Oh, Crystal. That's a name. I believe I said it in a previous video, but good night, Crystal. Good night to anyone named Crystal. Crystal, 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 Crystal. And let's see, we did Gem, Crystal, Opal, Ruby, Amethyst. I'm trying to think. We'll circle back to the names, the stone names. How about the name Jewel? Jewel. Are there any jewels in my audience? Good night, Jewel. Okay. So here's another one. As someone who has a Czechoslovakian name, I confirm I will not be getting any sleep. Girl, just drop your name. Their username is Sharky. I'm assuming that's not their real name. Okay. Good night to anyone named Alina. Alina. Good night, Alina. Alina, 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 Alina. Now I feel like I have to sprinkle some more common names in there just so people, there's like a more general, pull to this video. Does that make sense? So, off the top of my head, I'm gonna say goodnight to Emily. Good night, Emily. Good night to John. Good night, John. Good night to Joseph. Good night to Mackenzie. Good night, Mackenzie. And how about McKenna? If you're a girl and I didn't say your name, make sure to leave a comment, okay? Don't let the boys take over the comment section. But despite that, I'm going to continue to read these. Owen, O-W-E-N, Owen. Good night, Owen. Good night, good night, good night. You have my permission to fall asleep. Good night, Owen. Good night to Ezekiel. Ezekiel, you have my permission to fall asleep. 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 Okay, okay, okay. This has an L name. L. Pretty common one. Pretty common L name for a boy. And it's... Wow, noisy out there. Lucas. Good night, Lucas. Good night to Amelia. Amelia, I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you're not, hang in there, Amelia. Sending you good vibes, Amelia, Amelia. Good night. Okie dokie. You guys think you're so funny in my comments, leaving all these jokes. I'm trying to find the real names. Good night, Gabe. Good night, Gabe. Gabe, 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 Gabe. You can fall asleep. You can fall asleep, Gabe. Finally, your time has come. Your time has come, Gabe, to fall asleep. Kaya. Kaya. Good night, Kaya. And what about Kyla? Kyla. Good night, Kyla. And I just feel like I have to, even though I know I've said it in a previous video. Kyle. Kyle. Lucky you. Kyle, you get another one. Kyle, are you happy? Are you happy, Kyle? Good night, Kyle. You have permission to fall asleep. And what about Kylie? Kylie, I knew you were waiting, Kylie. I knew when I said Kyla, you were like, so close. But here you go. There you go, Kylie. Kylie. And what about Kyrie? Kyrie. Kyrie. Good night. You have permission to fall asleep. Good night to Sebastian. Good night. Sebastian. You have permission asleep. And good night to Keenan. He says she'll never find me. Well, Keenan, I spotted you. Keenan. And Glenn, you have permission to fall asleep, Glenn. And Aiden, what's with all the boys? Aiden. Good night, Aiden. You have permission to fall asleep. Ivy, I know you're watching. Ivy, what a pretty name. I'm obsessed. Ivy. Good night, Ivy. You can relax. I give you my permission to fall asleep. As well as you. Lincoln. feet are falling asleep from sitting like this. Alright, bringing the iPad to the other side. Jasper. Good night, Jasper. Good night. Jasper, you have permission. You, Jasper, have my permission to fall asleep, and so do you, Jade. Jade, you have permission to fall asleep. Or maybe one of my listeners, maybe someone out there, his name is Jada. Good night, Jada. And now I know for a fact I've said this, but I'm just gonna throw it in there since it's on my mind. Jaden. Good night, Jaden. There's a million spellings of it, and it's gender neutral, so I think I covered a lot of ground throwing Jaden in there. Good night to all the Jadens. Jaden, and Jaden. All of you. Good night. You have to go to sleep. I'm not giving you my permission. I'm giving you my command. Fall asleep now, Jaden. Or at the very least, relax. And next up, it makes the k sound. K. It could be a C. It could be a K. I love this name. Adore this name. Killian. Oh, Killian. You have my permission to relax. Killian. If your name is spelled with a C, how many times do people call you Cillian? But I bet that is a name. Cillian. If that's your name, comment below. That's interesting. But you have permission to fall asleep too, if you're out there. Okay. Mia. Good night, Mia, you have permission to fall asleep. And how about Michelle? My belle, sont des mots qui vont très bien ensemble. Michelle, my belle, these are words that go together well. My Michelle, love ya, Michelle. You got lots of extra attention. Lucky you. The Beatles wrote a song after you, so of course I had to sing it. Good night, Michelle. Maybe I should go through Beatles songs in my head. Sadie. Good night, Sadie. I love that name. Oh, shoot. Unplugged my iPad. Oh, Sadie. You had me all distracted. Good night, Sadie. You have my permission to fall asleep. And what about Eleanor Rigby. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor, good night, Eleanor. You have permission to relax, as well as you. Now, this is probably the most obvious one when you think Beatles song. What is it? Can you guess? What it is? Can you guess? Do you have your answer? Jude. Good night, Jude. Jude or Judas, maybe, or Judith, or Judy. All of you have my permission to fall asleep. Hey, Jude. Na, 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 around you, you think I'm obnoxious. If you hate the Beatles, I'm sorry. But this is a good theme. I'm gonna try to run with this. Well, let's get the obvious names out of the way. Let's do some boys' names. So I think we already covered John. But let's cover Paul. Good night to all the Pauls out there. Paul. And George. Is your name George? Is your name George? Because if so, I'm talking to you. George, you have my permission. George, to fall asleep. Paul, George. I wonder if there's someone named Paul George watching this. That'd be crazy. Also, you're pretty much doomed to get Beatles comparisons if your name is Paul George or George Paul. Or maybe not. Maybe my brain is just wired that way. Let's see. I'm not gonna say Ringo. Well, we could just do Harrison, because I know that is the first name. Harrison, good night. Or maybe your name isn't Harrison, it's Harold. Good night, Harold. Anybody called Harry? Good night, Harry. And Lucy. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy. Now, those are the ones that come to mind when I think about Beatles songs with names in them. I'm sure one will pop up in my head later and I'll have to mention it. Sorry about that little clunk. Oh, that piercing is freaky. Thank you. Wait, I hate this. Thank you. Where's the name? Bort. Well, hey, Bort. Lord. I've just never heard of that name. Bort. Good night, Bort. B-O-R-T. And I could have sworn I said this, but I'm gonna throw it out there just in case I didn't. It's a pretty common name. It goes for boys and girls. It starts with an A. Can you guess what it is? The next letter is an L. Alex. Hi, Alex. Alex. Good night, Alex. You have my permission to fall asleep now. Or maybe your name. Maybe there's someone out there named Alexi. Good night, Alexi. This person says my fucking name is Ledway. It will never happen. Well, Ledway, it's your lucky day. I bet you're not even gonna watch this. Ledway, aka Jack Jakey. If you're watching this, comment below, because that's who I'm basing this comment off of. Ledway. Good night, Ledway. You have my permission to fall asleep. Let's see. He says, guys, help, my name was never said. Well, you have to comment it, because now I don't know. Oh, you were close. My name is Nika, and you said Nico. Oh, well. Nika, you now are finally allowed to fall asleep. I know you've just been waiting. This guy says, I knew she wasn't gonna get my name. Parentheses, Tyrone. Well, Tyrone, I'm almost positive I said your name in another video, but once again, I'm just gonna throw it in there just in case. Tyrone. Hey, Tyrone. It doesn't have to be this Tyrone, by the way. Anybody named Tyrone. You now have my explicit permission to go to sleep. Tyrone. Good night, Tyrone. This person says, you pretty, not gonna lie. Thanks. Prodigen plays is 4538. Thanks for the compliment. Okay. Good night to Leave On. Now, of course, you're gonna get me thinking of Elton John. Good night, Leave On. Leave On. Leave On. Leave On likes his money. He makes a lot, they say. Spends his days counting in a garage on a motorway. I'm not gonna keep singing. A lot of you guys are like, girl, I clicked on this song to listen to you whisper, not to listen to you sing. But if you do want to hear me sing, I've been making some singing videos lately, so go ahead, check those out. Bradley. Oh, I know I haven't said this one yet. Bradley. Good night, Bradley. Bradley. And how could I forget to just throw out Elton? Elton. I'm talking to you. Did you already fall asleep? I knew it, Elton. You can go to sleep now. Now you aren't breaking the rules. Lucky you, because I finally told you could go to sleep. Now, Sergey. Is that how you say that? Sergey. I'm a little nervous that that's not correct, but who knows? Sergey, good night. Do you have my permission to fall asleep? Oh my. I think some of these people are joking about their names. My name is Barack J. Obama. Sad face. Oh, good night, Barack Obama. But I bet there is someone out there named Barack. Good night, Barack. Or maybe Brock. Brock. Good night to Barack. Or Brock. Person said, holy crap, my name's Nico. Holy crap, your name's Nico. I did already say Nico in a previous video, though. No Kyrie L video. I said Kyrie in this one, so does that mean this video is a W? Now this girl says Brielle. Brielle is her name. So thank you. If your name is Brielle watching this, you can thank Miss Briegal3026 for getting your name, your name included in this video. Good night, Brielle. I hope you have sweet, sweet dreams. Brielle, my Brielle. And I feel like I've said it before, but just for good measure, Brianna or Brianna. All my breeze out there. Good night. And that makes me think of the name Breezy. Breezy. Is there a Breezy out there listening to this video? Good night to Breezy. You have my permission to fall asleep now. Breezy. Okay, moving on. Crying. My name is never in these. Didn't leave it in the comments. You missed your shot. No way, she says Hayden. Well, yes way. Good night, Hayden. Good night to all the Haydens out there. Ooh, okay. I'm actually pretty sure I said this in a video already, so I'm gonna move on. The person says, so stupid. Go find a real job, stupid. Okay. Me having a German name. What is your German name? You have to share with me or else I can't say it. Me as a Brazilian, awake forever. Well, come on, you gotta tell me your name then. My name, this person says, I got a good feeling you won't guess my name. My name is, now I'm gonna say it. It starts with an A, and it's a nature name. Okay? So if your name starts with an A, and it's a nature name, get ready. Maybe this is gonna be your chance to finally relax. Your name is Aspen. Good night, Aspen. Good night, Aspen. Now, I'm not sure if this person was saying their name or comparing me to someone from Adventure Time, because I got a lot of that on that video, even though I've never seen Adventure Time. Sorry, guys. So I'm just gonna put this one out there. Betty. Betty. Good night, Betty. Betty, 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 Betty. Boop, 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 boop. Good night to all the Bettys out there. Oh, my stomach is rumbling. I haven't eaten anything. Okay. Oh, I like this. Here's another name. This is a virtue name. But dude, there's someone out there named Virtue. Oh, that's a pretty name. Is your name Virtue? Anyone out there? Virtue. You have my permission to fall asleep, Virtue. Virtue. But this one is a virtue name that starts with a J. Now I feel like there's only one virtue name that starts with a J. Justice. Justice. Sorry, I had to pop my jaw. Justice. 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 You have permission to fall asleep. This person says, I have been awake for 9 days. Help. I'm sorry, big men kisser. You have to leave your name, though. Shame on you. Me right now, skippity derp. Okay. 2 a.m., let me sleep. Well, your name is Spider-Man on there, so I'm gonna guess that's not your real name. Oh, here we go. Mustafa. Mustafa. Good night, Mustafa. Good night, Mustafa. And here's one. Carol. Now, this person spells it Karel. So does that mean it would be Carell? Because Carol is typically like the woman's name is Carole, or with no E as well. So I'm gonna just cover my bases and say Carell. Carell, you have permission to fall asleep, and so do you, Carol. Or Caroline, which I know for sure I've said before, but Caroline. Caroline. Good night, Caroline. South Americans seeing this video, sad face. Let's see, what's your username? Juan? I'm almost positive I said Juan in a previous video. Good night to W-W-I-L-L-O-W, Willow. Willow. You can fall asleep now, Willow. And this one starts with an O. Oscar. Oscar. Good night, Oscar. Good night, Oscar. Carla. And how about Carly? Good night, Carly. And Carl. Good night, Carl. Let's see. There's no way. Is your name Goku? Good night, Goku, if your name's actually Goku. Oh, Edric. Good night, Edric. He's mad that I said Eric, but not his name. That's okay. No Hayden, but Muhammad? What? Muhammad? You should know this. It's the most common name in the world. Read a book. Maisie. What a fun, cute name. I love that. Maisie. Did any of you guys watch that show growing up, Maisie Mouse? Cute. Good night, Maisie. Good night, Gabe. No, I'm almost positive I said Gabriel in a previous video. Maybe not. Good night, Gabe. I think I said that earlier in this video too. I have never heard, oh, is that Lachlan or Lakeland? It says, I have never heard the name Lachlan in any name videos, and that's weird because I know so many of them. Well, I've never met one, but good night to, I'm gonna just say it both ways just in case. I don't want to piss anyone off. Lachlan, 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 and Lakeland, Lakeland. Good night. Sorry for mispronouncing it if I did, but I hope you have good rest. My name is too Norwegian. Well, what is it? Everyone forgetting about Felix. I've mentioned Felix in a different one. 80. Good night, 80. Good night, 80. Sorry, that's my fridge making that noise. 80. Mofos named Liam get to sleep but not Adams. Okay, well, I said Adam in a different video, and you might mean it Leanne. Bruh, I need a girl. Bruh, get you one. I'm surprised you didn't say my name. It's kind of popular. Well, you didn't leave it. Okay. Bryson. Good night to Bryson. Ooh, we're at minute 41. I'm going until 45, okay? And then if your name wasn't said at 45, drop a comment and I'll mention it in a future one. I promise I'll try my best to get to yours. Good night to Bryson. Bryson, you have my permission to fall asleep. Bryson. Also, if you have a super unique name or one that you don't know, of course my neighbor starts vacuuming right now. He never vacuums. I'll wrap it up. If you have a unique name that you don't think I'll know how to pronounce, maybe leave the pronunciation and that would help me out. So let's see. Rory. Good night, Rory. Good night, Rory. Good night, Kim. Good night, Trixie. You have my permission to fall asleep, Trixie. Okay. Oh, you little shit, leaving the list of names. Deleting it. Okay. It's starting to get louder, guys. I'm gonna do one last name. This is a unique one. And then I'm gonna wrap it up because this is just unbearable. Good night, Remington. Or anyone named Remy. Remy's also a pretty popular name nowadays. Remy. Good night, Remy. And to the rest of you, I'm just gonna do a collective permission to fall asleep until next time. Okay? There he goes, he stopped. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Depending on the reaction this one gets, maybe I'll put out another one ASAP, as soon as possible. But you guys are gonna have to flood the comments with your names, or else I won't have anything to go off of. So good night to everyone. I hope you have some deep and invigorating and a healing rest tonight. Okay, I hope you feel well rested when you wake up tomorrow. I'm sending positive brainwaves, this positive brainwaves your way. And until next time.